See Dale Jarrett in the 88 car actually sitting exactly where he needs to try to get that free pass. Should we get a caution? Jamie McMurray, the 42, keeps working Michael Waltrip in the 15. Looks like he's finally going to get the position off in the turn 1.
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, Michael's car is not real good on these restarts. It must be on real low air. Takes it about 10, 15 laps before it really gets going. Then he comes back on the high side.
Jeff Burton just made a nice move on Jeff Gordon as they battle back and forth, and we pick up right here on the rear bumper cam of Burton. He got a good run off turn 2 to make that pass on Gordon for 17th.
Looks like when somebody sticks their nose right under Jeff Gordon's back bumper, that car just goes crazy, and he has to get out of it or get out of the way.
4 caution flags in the first 32 laps here in Texas. 4 crashes. That took a total of 8 cars to the garage, half of which have since returned. Since then, we've been caution-free, but we're free for debris on the racetrack, which has kept the field pretty close and kept 20 cars on the lead lap. Greg Biffle, your leader, by 1 second over Casey Mears. Let's go to the pits and Matt.
31 car, Mike, of Jeff Burton. He was very strong earlier in the race, and the car just went crazy loose, he told his team on the radio. They have slowly worked this car back, running just inside the top 20 now. They are working the way back through. They passed by Jeff Gordon. He says his car is just way loose since that last stop. You saw all the work they did on the 2 stops, and this race is going to break a streak of 4 straight top 5s here at Texas. Gordon had a great run here at the Great American Racetrack coming in. Not going well today.
His teammate, however, Jimmy Johnson, has crept up into the top 10 just ahead of Rusty Wallace. Johnson and Wallace 9th and 10th. There they are. Johnson going for his 13th straight top 10 finish, and Wallace trying to move back in contention.
Well, Rusty had a great qualifying run on Friday. Qualified up in the 6th position, was running in the top 10. About 145 laps ago, he had a penalty on a pit stop under caution. The catch cam man was not in place. Had to go to the tail end of the longest line, which was way back there. It's taken him this long to get back in the top 10. And another car that had a problem about 200 laps ago, the 3rd Ganassi car, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car, he had what he thought was a flat under green when a lap down, got the free pass. Now he's back up at the 12th position. We have all 3 Ganassi cars in the top 12.
Plus the Roush cars. So they pretty much dominate the race today.
That pretty much is the top 12, isn't it? Well, not really. Michael Waltrip Chevy is 6th. Tony Stewart is 8th. Jimmy Johnson 9th in Chevrolets, plus the 4 Fords and the 4 Dodges in the top 10. Casey Mears holding station about 1.4 seconds behind Greg Biffle.
Greg Biffle in a Ford, currently leading here. Kurt Busch currently running 3rd, also in a Ford. It's been a rough few weeks for Kurt. Remember, at Bristol, then Martinsville. Knocked around in both of those, even in the IROC series here, but has competed in the top 5 for much of this race. Meanwhile, Greg Biffle, who wrecked in practice here, had to go to a backup car, has worked himself into the lead, and in his Ford has led the most laps today and leads with 98 laps to go. Ford built for the road ahead, and Roush Racing and all of his Fords in the top 20 at this point. At one point, all 5 of his drivers were in the top 10.
When you take a look at that, also, I look down that and see Ricky Rudd has now moved up into the top 10. He's running 9th right now. So, I mean, a good day for the Ford guys. Really looking strong. This is looking out the front of Ricky's car. And, I mean, so far, Greg Biffle, my friend, he is gone. I mean, all of a sudden, he's hit the afterburners, and he is checking out on these guys.
His best finish in Texas previously was 28th. I want to talk about Kurt Busch because he talked to us in the pre-race show, defending champ. Talk about a guy who's been hurting physically, even mentally, some bad luck, staying power, showing the toughness that a defending champion should.
Very much so. I am very, very impressed with him. I mean, today, I didn't know if he had it in him to really get in here and fight like he needed to, but he's driven this car to the front. stayed up there all day long, and he's showing a lot of heart. He's showing what a champion's made out of, and he wants to defend that title. And I mean, my hat's off to him as well as Jimmy Finnick and that entire crew right now. They're making a really good showing here today.
Working on an impressive point position jump as well.
And he's gaining right now on the 41 car, Casey Mears. It looks like he's starting to run him down, so he's getting stronger as we go toward the latter part of this race. And
Tony Stewart, who's led the second most laps in this race, 45, tailing down a little bit, currently running 10th. Let's go back upstairs to Mike, Larry, and Darrell.
Darrell, NASCAR's rules don't allow for a substitute driver to start the race. If you don't start the race, you don't get any points. It's tough for Kurt Busch to drive hurt, but wouldn't it be tougher for him to let down his team and let somebody else run that car?
Well, it's always been a huge debate, Mike, about whether, you know, a driver could have a substitute driver or trouble. Oh, got a car around back there.
Robbie Gordon hounds the wall pretty hard coming off turn 2 and tears the back end off of his Chevrolet.
Yeah, boy, I hate that.
That is the 8th caution of the day, coming at lap 240.
Having a pretty good run. He was only 1 lap down. Pretty good day for that team that struggled so much.
That'll be the break, though, Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, the UPS car, was looking for, because he was the first car a lap down. He will get the free pass.
And again, his teammate Elliott Sadler, Jarrett's teammate, and Jeff Gordon were the 2 cars most in jeopardy of going a lap down. So this caution is a bit of a break for them. Didn't see what happened to Jeff Gordon, or rather to Robbie Gordon, but that was a pretty hard hit.
Again, it's off turn 2 over there. You can see him up high. He just got loose there. He's all by himself. Backs it in the fence. Parts flying, springs coming out.
And he was having a decent run. He was just 1 lap down, running up in the top 22, 23 cars.
What I saw that I liked there was he never stopped driving it. You could see those wheels pulling forward. He was digging to get that car straightened out so it wouldn't spin back up in front of traffic.
Takes it to the garage area. Now, we are pretty safe to say about 30 laps in this run, we'll see all of our leaders to pit road, but we're not to that window that Matt Yoakum was talking about where they could make this their final stop.
Nice smooth stop, guys. Just like we've been doing all day. Hit the sun.
That's Doug Richard, Greg Biffle's crew chief. Here's Matt.
Larry Mack, moments ago, that's exactly what Doug Richard told Greg Biffle. We are still not in that window yet. We will have to stop one more time. Biffle says the car turns better and it has more rear grip since their last stop. It's a tick on the free side. But he said, I really don't want to take a chance and make an adjustment now since we have to stop one more time. Let's just leave it alone.
One thing you remember about Atlanta, they didn't adjust on that car all day long, and at the end of the race, it kind of bit them. And Larry, the sun has gone in. It's kind of getting a little overcast. Better be ready.
Track's definitely cooling down. Jeannie.
42 of Jamie McMurray saying it's way better than it was before, deciding with crew chief Donnie Wingo. They needed more air in the right rear. That's what they got. Best change they made all day, so they're going with it again. Steve?
Kurt Busch says the car is the tightest it's been all day, Jeannie. They put a half pound out of the right front, quarter pound in the right rear to fix that. Dick?
Well, Casey Mears came out of the pits in second place. That's exactly where he had entered the pits. They were glad to see that caution flag because the tires that they put on the car on the last pit stop didn't agree with the car. The car had gotten very tight, so they made some air pressure adjustments this time around to try and solve this problem. And one more reason for Casey Mears to try to win the race today, as if there aren't already enough, it's his mother's birthday.
But I think they're making these adjustments not necessarily because a set of tires didn't agree. It's like you mentioned, DW, this racetrack is really changing and really cooling down.
Under caution for the 8th time today.
On Fox is brought to you by UPS. We're going to race the truck. People love the truck. UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivers the chance to win 4 tickets to next year's Daytona 500. Go to foxsports.com, keyword UPS. 20 lead changes. We had last year's winner, Elliott Sadler, stay out and lead a lap. He led for the first time today. Greg Biffle has led the most laps as they get ready to go green.
Dale Jarrett back on the lead lap. That makes 21 lead lap cars as Biffle, Mears, McMurray, Martin, and Tony Stewart lead the pack off turn 2.
Casey Mears in the 41 car trying to contend with Ryan Newman, the 12 car, who's a lap down, tried to clear him through 1 and 2, but Ryan got a great run off turn 2 onto the backstretch. Casey got a great run that time on the high side off turn 4. He's able to clear the lap car of Ryan Newman in the 12.
48 car, Jimmy Johnson just about got in the back of Mark Martin in the triover right here. I mean, that was close.
Guys, I tell you, a car that has moved back into the equation. He had faded just a little bit, but that orange Home Depot car, Tony Stewart, the 20, he's now back up in the 4th position. We have 87 laps to go.
The car didn't look right on his last run, Larry. The car just wouldn't seem to hold the bottom of the racetrack. But here is Stewart in 4th, Matt.
Mike, he was free on entry before the last stop, and the reason they over-adjusted the race car again, they put an air pressure change back into the car that they made on the previous stop. You can see he's starting to work his way back up to the front.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, who had a very long pit stop early in this race while the crew had to pull out a reluctant spring rubber, has had terrific pit stops ever since then. He has managed to soldier all the way up toward the front of the field. Johnson right now running in the 5th position. And just after the last pit stop, in which they gained a couple of more positions, crew chief Chad Knaus got on the radio and told Johnson, if you can't get it done on the racetrack, we'll get it done in the pits. And, of course, he was just kidding because Johnson's doing a great job out there.
They're doing exactly what they did at Martinsville. They were so far off at the beginning of the race. They never gave up, and here they are battling Tony Stewart, the 20, for the 4th position. This is the reason these guys are leading the points by 160 points coming into this race.
There was a point in this race where Johnson's lead would have been cut to 100. Now he is 125 up on Biffle. He came in 160 ahead based on their positions at the moment.
Unlike some teams, they don't work on the driver all day long. They work on the car all day long, and they encourage the driver when it counts.
Boy, Matt Kenseth had a rough restart. He went way up the hill. Carl Edwards had a hard time getting by him. And Matt has now slipped out of the top 20. I believe he's now the last car on the lead